Stay tuned for urban legends to ghostly tales of the paranormal, because now it's time for
Message on the Wall.
Message on the Wall brings you The Old Man and the Bridge. This story takes place at Camden in Polk County, Texas, where a man named McManor owned a sawmill, and this man was the most unpleasant that anyone could wish to meet. He didn't need to be nice to get business. Being the only mill in the area, people had to deal with him. Those that crossed McManor or were late with their payments often found themselves on the end of the old man's horsewhip. It happened one day that McManor was out riding when his horse was spooked by some animal. With the horse setting off for home, McManor clung on until reaching the bridge by the mill, where he fell from his mount, hitting his head and dying instantly. No one mourned McManor, and there were many who had been flailed by the old man that was glad to see the back of him. The mill was taken over by a much nicer man, and life continued. It was a few months later when Jerry Jones, who had never got on with McManor, was making his way home from the tavern. He went by the sawmill and was halfway across the wooden bridge when he saw what he could only describe as a glowing mist that came up through the plank flooring of the bridge. Jerry remained rooted to the spot as the mist formed into a recognizable human shape. It was no other than McManor, and with whip in hand. The horrified man turned and fled the way he had come, with McManor's ghost cracking the whip hot on his heels. It was only when Jerry got quite a way down the road to a pecan tree that McManor disappeared with a loud popping sound. Jerry told what had happened to him, but he was well known to like his beer, and having left the tavern worse for wear, he could find no one that thought it was any more than the drink. That was until the following Sunday, when the local parson's journey took him over the bridge. McManor once again appeared, not letting the man from the bridge until he had recited several passages from the Bible. After that, there were many who saw and were set upon by the spectre, as they only used the bridge when they really had to. It wasn't until the new mode of transport in the form of the motor car that people felt less uneasy about using the bridge. With the car being much faster, it made it more difficult for McManor to waylay passers-by, and that appeared to be the case, as McManor was not seen for many years, in fact decades, that it was thought he had given up, but his haunting the bridge had not been forgotten. It was when the football team was on their way home from a winning game that the bus headed for the bridge. It was getting dusk as they travelled along the narrow, winding road, and then, as it reached the bridge, the bus stalled, its engine falling silent. One boy joked that they may see the ghost, and though others joined in, there was a nervous tension at breaking down in such a desolate spot. This was an opportunity McManor couldn't let slip by, as all on board the bus saw a glowing mist coming up from under the bridge, it seeming alive as it moved towards them. One of the boys looked out the back window, letting out a screech of horror, as there, looking in at them, was the leering face of McManor. Panic set in among the boys as the back of the bus lifted from the ground, throwing all aboard from their seats, as though McManor was trying to shake beans from a can. And he may well have succeeded too, had the sheriff not come along. Driving over the bridge, the headlights of the police car picked out McManor's ghost in its glowing haze as he held the back end of the bus aloft. The sheriff slammed on his brakes as McManor vanished with a loud pop, never to be seen again. But that could well be that shortly after the incident a new road was built, and the old bridge torn down. But it doesn't mean to say that if you're near Camden, when dusk begins to fall, that you won't see the ghost of McManor. You have been listening to Message on the Wall, brought to you in association with Paranormal Parodies. You can find Paranormal Parodies at paranormal-parodies.com.